All right. Um, so we kind of been talking about all this. How's it been going? Did Sally? Did you try that Adobe stuff? None of you tried to download this yet? I don't know how it is, but apparently CUNY cut a deal with Adobe now, and by using your CUNY email, I think yeah, whatever one you have for LaGuardia, you should be able to get a free Adobe license during this time. Um, Please, if anyone does that, let me know how it goes. I already have one, so I'm not able to like test it out. So I'm just curious. When all this happened, a lot of these corporations made these announcements that they're giving away all this stuff for free, but then they put all these stipulations on it, and I'm just none of us are really sure how it's working out until you all start testing it. So let me know. I mean, it's a great deal. A couple $100s of stuff for free, or a couple hours of pain in the butt trying to crack Adobe. So that's nice. Um, for this class, we're going to use Adobe Premiere for video once we start doing animated videos, and also Photoshop to make GIFs. So those would be the two ones to get. Um, cool. So please just let me know. Yeah, Poppy, you can you right click on my name. Maybe she can't even hear me. Um, oh, you know what? I'll just do an invite, right? Yeah. um, okay. So anyway, that's that. So let me know. I don't know. You all seem fine with this Discord, and I've been hearing from like Sally, Wakong, Poppy, Jesse's on a little bit. You all seem to be fine with this. It's more, there's 11 of us, and you can see there's only 8 that have even joined Discord, and of those that joined this channel, I barely see them. I don't know what's going on. But this is new to all of us, so hopefully, as this week gets going, we'll get more people in the loop. Okay, so that's that. Let's look at Blackboard. Just a couple of you remembered the discussion component of the homework. So if you look at the homework component, I put part 0 to get started on the discussion section. Oops, I spelled Blackboard wrong. So we do have this discussion component at every class. I'm going to make a discussion component. I was just starting one off easy, just telling you some stuff maybe you're watching while you're kind of at home quarantining yourself. I think it'd be an interesting discussion to see what people are looking at. So Sally and Wacom posted, and you all posted a bunch of stuff I'd never heard of, so that was really cool. Sally posted this artist, Haley Morris. Really cool stop motion animation, right? So you can see her up there. That's probably how she makes these. It looks like she has kind of like a table where she organizes everything and makes the animation. So that's really cool. It was fun looking at this. So this would be something worth checking out, guys. Also, Sally posted this. This makes me feel old. I don't really. I played Breath of the Wild. I guess this is a guy making fun of speedruns of Breath of the Wild. I don't know, Sally, if you want to like chime in. Um, but the animation's cool, right? I like these because this is more realistic what one person can do, right? Animation is really hard. It takes a very long time. And so this is just a way to like quickly make stuff. There's a thing in Blender that you can make animation like this with. It's called the grease pencil. Um, and just in this newer version of Blender, they've made a lot of improvements on that. I don't think we'll look at it this semester, really. It's a whole other world. But if that is something that you're interested in, to do stuff like this, I would definitely check it out. Yeah, I don't know. Looks good. I mean, I recognize a lot of this. Cool. But this is a total style, right? There's so many YouTube videos with this kind of style. It's just a quick way to make information more entertaining. A lot of times. Wacom posted this, which I've never seen, and this animation is so beautiful. Promare, I've not heard of this, but I do agree, Wacom. You're talking about a mixture of 2D and 3D, but it's like a real seamless. So now that's 3D, right, and then it switches to 2D. It's a real seamless transition, which I've never really seen it done this well before. And this beautiful kind of pastel color palette. Looks beautiful. If this is a movie, cool. So yeah, that looks worth checking out for sure. Cool. So that's the discussion component. There's another one for today. We'll get there on that one once we talk about the artist of the day. So please don't forget those two things. We'll try to keep this discussion going. I don't know, and I'm always open to feedback too on this stuff. If you all think the discussions would be better had on Discord or something like that, we can move it to Discord if you think maybe more of you would be more likely to remember this component. The reason I put it on Blackboard mostly is because that's how I take attendance, is that I see you all log on. So if you have not logged on to Blackboard, please do that, because I might have marked you absent last week if I didn't see that you logged on to Blackboard. Okay. So next thing, let's check out some homework. I only got, I think, 3 homeworks handed in, which is a little disconcerting. Please reach out to me. Oh, cool, it's a movie. Please reach out to me if you're having trouble finishing the homework. And I'm always on Discord. I'm on my computer all day, to the point where I'm getting like neck injuries just staring at a screen like 12 hours a day. So you can reach out to me anytime. I'm always happy to talk with you. Please let me know if you're having trouble with the homework. But with that said, let's just check out a few of these. So this is kind of a new thing in the class when we kind of switch to this idea of a critique. In any creative visual class you take, you have this component where you look at work of your classmates and you talk about it, and you talk about what's working, what's not working, maybe what you like about it, what draws you to it, or what pushes you away. And it's just a way to talk about visual things rather than just saying like, oh, that's cool, oh, that's stupid. But it's a way to say why you feel that way. So it's a very important component of becoming a creative professional, is to be able to talk about why you like things and why you don't, why you did certain things, why you didn't do other things, and all that. It's important to be able to have a discussion around around images. So let's look at a few of these. Well, 3 of them. That's all we got. So here's Sally's. I really like this, Sally. So do any of you want to chime in? I know. Let's see who's on. So few. Yeah, we got a good amount of people. Does anyone want to chime in and say maybe what they think is working nicely in this? Like, why do you think this is a good looking image? Or is it not? Or whatever. Whatever you want to say. Or I'll just talk if you guys are feeling too shy. I don't know. I'll give you a few seconds, see if anyone chimes in. It looks good. But you gotta say what makes it look good. That's the thing to practice. Do y'all do this in your other classes? Didn't you do this a little bit? Maybe an intro to new media. So I can show you some of my favorite ones. I really like this one. And I really like this one. Very cool. Oh, there's the water. Yeah, definitely. It's very nicely lit. Um, the lighting is even, right? See, there's like the darkest shadow, but it's still not like pitch black or anything, right? Like we can see everything's composed and lit super nicely. I like that warm, right? And it is warm. It has a warm feel. Um, and what does that warm feel kind of like tell us story-wise? Like, is this a place that feels good to live in, or is it a place that has like a darker side to it? Right. I mean, I think it's obvious, right? It's a warm home, right? It's somewhere you want to be in. So the story you would tell around this would be something, um, maybe like I don't know, something to do with like a family, a love story, something like warmer, right? Like think about those kind of genres. One thing I really want to talk about in all these, and it's something we're going to start looking at a lot more, is composing your images. So the reason I picked these two is the composition feels pretty natural, especially this one. So a few things going on here is I like how this chair is a little bit off to the left a little bit. And I also like this chair opens toward the right of the image. And so we have a little bit of breathing room in this space because that's where the chair opens to, right? Also the color scheme in this, really great. We got blues and greens. And then this red to kind of like highlight it, which is really nice. And most importantly, I think something that I'll repeat in the other two homeworks, this is from a human point of view. So it looks like I could be standing in this room, right? Whereas this one is a little more awkward in terms of composition. Like, I don't really know how I would be standing in this room, right? I think if you brought the camera down a little bit, and rotated it up, it might feel a little more natural. Like if we could see that bookcase, it looks like you spent a lot of time on that, and it's kind of blocked by the stairs. So that might be more interesting if this was from the point of view of like an average height human. But it kind of feels like someone's like hovering on that stair, right? And so it makes it feel a little awkward. I do like this. Looks nice in contrast with the fireplace. But it's just from, and same with this one. Like I love this scene, but what if that chair was over where this one was, and then we were standing, the camera was like right here, and it kind of felt like we could join the people at this table. Like that could kind of help make it a more engaging image. Right? Cool. So in the same way, you have this chair a little over to the left, so it's opening up toward this blank space. It might be cool if since this one's opening toward the right, if you moved it a little more in the corner there, right, to give it some like breathing room. Same with this one, move it over there a little bit. Cool. Any other comments anyone wants to say? I've never done a critique like this. Usually this is something much easier in person, but it's such an important part of just getting better at this stuff is to be able to talk about it. So please chime in, either voice or text. Any comments are really helpful also to the person who did it, right? Your feedback this is super subjective, right? Subjective meaning it's my opinion. So I'm wrong all the time, right? This is just my opinion. So all the opinions count and matter, right? So please just chime in if you have anything else to say. Okay, awesome. Great job, Sally. Great. This is like your first serious Blender undertaking, I'd say, right? And it's a success for sure. Very cool. Poppy, very nice. So same thing, right? I'm just gonna be repeating this a lot. Like this is a little bit of an awkward position, right? We want to feel like we're at that table. So just try in your next assignment to move the camera to more like human places. So this one working a lot better, right? I like this one a lot. it feels kind of like maybe we're in the forest looking at these rooms, right? Very cool. So this one also pretty nicely lit. It's a little darker, right? Because the sky is dark and there's these mysterious rooms in the forest. So I think the story of this is pretty interesting, pretty strange, right? I think it could be elaborated on even more. Maybe like these trees are really easy to copy paste. So you could make a denser forest, which could be kind of cool. And also maybe put some stars in the sky, make a more night feel, because this is definitely at night. Very cool. I like this Christmas tree thing, how you just copy pasted the trees inside. Really taking advantage of copy paste, which I think is great. Why not? You can also vary your copy pastes, so like size things a little differently to make it seem more varied. Great couch. Cool. This is a great first kind of serious Blender attempt, I'd say. Cool. I like this one too. It's from a little bit of a more of a human angle, which is nice. I like that sculpture there. So I would just say too, I can tell, Poppy, maybe you're having a little difficulty just kind of moving around the scene. Always be moving around checking, because then you can see stuff like this chair. There's a little off angle, right? It's like tilted. That would feel really weird to sit in that chair, right? And that couch. So just always be, see I have a little thing now in my Blender. You can see what I'm clicking. Rotate is middle click. Shift middle click. I can pan. Right? And mouse wheel to zoom in and out. So just really, guys, get in that habit. So you can see my buttons there, right? You can use these, of course, too, but that's kind of a pain. That was more when we were in the Mac room to do that. But now that maybe you all should have 3-button mice at home, hopefully, you can just really get in the habit of looking around your scene all the time. We're so used to like Photoshop or working on web pages, and it's just flat, right? But now I'm trying to get you out of that and start really looking around the scene. Cool. But great job, Poppy. Thank you. Any other comments, guys? Yeah, cool. Yeah, right? That's a really good point, right? There's a sort of like awkwardness that's cool because it could really tell a story. Like, why is this normal looking furniture just in the middle of the woods at night, especially, right? The nighttime helps to really make it more interesting in a way, right? It makes it more mysterious. So that's cool. Great. Thank you for that. Alt click also realigns the camera to the mouse. Yes, so that's another good pointer. Thank you for that. You can't get the shadows. Okay, well, we're going to look at shadows today, too, as we talk about still life. So no worries if you can't get those shadows yet. Cool. Thank you guys for the comments. Let's see. We got last one. This is Wacong's. Very nice. So Wacong is really taking advantage of that. What's it called? I can't even remember. It starts with a B. Way to go. Way to go. Wacom, help me. Bloom, right? It's called Bloom. Sorry. And it is right here. So if you tick on Bloom and you make a material omission, sometimes it's called emissive, and you bump up that strength. When you go to render it, you get this really nice bright light, which is really cool. Right. So Wacom's using that a lot, which is really nice. What kind of feel does that give? That's something to think about, is when you do use this, what kind of feeling does that give? Oh, very cool. Very interesting, right? Really taking advantage of the scale that you can do in 3D. So we have like a normal size room, and then in the TV, with another room. So that's a very creative way to kind of deal with this making different rooms assignment. I like that a lot. Very cool. Nice. Yeah, balloon animation. Oh, you did put the Blake casting thing. So cool. Okay, we'll talk about that reading in a minute. But I missed that, I think, Wacom when I was grading because it's like way at the bottom, just one sentence. So right, so this bloom really helps to give kind of like a sci-fi feel, right? We kind of see that in a lot of like sci-fi. What's that new video game? That one. Let's see if we can find it. There we go. Right. So you see this in a lot of sci-fi, right? This kind of lighting, that red lighting with the bloom. Here we go again. Right. So I love that look. It's a genre, right? So you all are kind of working, whether you know it or not, in these genres, which are really important to think about because it can help you develop the story. See that pink? That's a lot like, you know, this kind of stuff we see in the sci-fi. So Wacom, you're kind of working in a more sci-fi. Poppy's was a little bit like horror almost because it was in the woods and it was dark. And Sally's was, I don't know, like a homely, home kind of warm feel, a feel-good maybe genre. Cool. So I would say I really like that. I love the colored lighting. Definitely you could add a lot more stuff, right? So like maybe put some pictures on the walls, some outlets, more chairs, more furniture, stuff like that to kind of help develop the story. Could be kind of interesting. Or go one way or the other, right? Where like maybe it's a room that's like totally empty and cram everything into that TV. I'd love to know where this hole goes too. I like that room. So this is metal. You can make a metallic material too. So instead of emission, you can make a glossy. Oh wait, no, you can do principled. And then in there, there's stuff called roughness and metallic. So you can just up the metallic, and roughness is how shiny it is. So the more you take that out, the more shiny it'll get. But then you can't see anything unless we have lights, right? But that's a way to get a more metallic look. Could be interesting. And same thing again. This one I like this composition quite a bit, right? This feels like I'm bending down on that table and looking into that TV, which is cool. Feels human. But in this one, yeah, similar. Feels human. You could imagine kind of standing in there. This one less so, right? Like where are we standing in this room? It's just kind of like hovering above it. It's a little awkward. So it might be cool to like really get the camera in there. I just noticed, is that grass? Did you try the hair modifier maybe or something? Cool. So yeah, there are some little details that are cool. Yeah. And then this kind of binary, I'm not sure, is that like a clock that's saying 1 o'clock or is it binary numbers? Anything? Oh, it is grass? Cool. Yeah. Yep. Hey Nasser, what's up? Thanks for joining us. Cool. Okay, and we have, let's see, any other comments on this? Anyone else want to say anything? I like that pink light there too, how it just kind of like hits the lip of the window. Oh, for the grass. Okay, there's actually like a way to make grass in Blender. There's a modifier. We're gonna look at modifiers today a little bit. There's a million tutorials on it. Okay. Cool. And last we have Stefan. Stefan's not here in the chat room, but it'll be worth looking. Hopefully he'll see in the recording. So also, this is another sci-fi kind of vibe, right? This kind of makes me, reminds me of like 2001: A Space Odyssey or something like that. It's a little more abstract, which I really like. Very cool. I like also how this has a consistent color scheme of this green, white, and red with like a purple highlight. Yeah, I really like that. This composition I really like. See how this is kind of opening up toward the left? So we have a lot of empty space in the left, which makes sense, right? If this was just moved over, if this was centered, or if it was moved over to the left, it would feel very cramped, right? But it's moved over to the right, so we kind of have this breathing room, this room where we can kind of like enter the space, which is cool. So that's works less here, right? This could be moved over a little bit, and then you see some of it's getting cut off at the bottom there. So these are all things to really start thinking about as you're working, right? So we're learning about framing because you can't start animating until you understand these basic things, right? Otherwise, your animations are going to feel like very cramped. And so we're starting to like really get into it slowly. So here's another thing that I see a lot of students do. When you're composing your image, if you have these parallel lines, so this is parallel with the top, right? It's good to just like tilt the camera a little bit so that this is even, but it feels very crooked. Do you all see that? So same here. It might feel a lot more composed if all the lines were straight. Now this one lines up a little better, but I'm not sure how this ended up being crooked. It is just a little bit. You can see down here, right? You can see how that starts up there and ends all the way down there. So it's good to try to like even that out. It's an important thing. And then this one, once again, maybe if we had a more human point of view in here, I think it'd be a bit more engaging and we would feel like we're more inside of it. But instead, we're just kind of like hovering over it awkwardly, right? I really like this abstract thing. The only thing, as I said in class, the last time we met, no more monkeys. Don't use these monkeys. It's a dead giveaway that you're just using Blender. Try to use other things like an ecosphere could be cool. Or now we know edit mode, so you can kind of make your own weird shapes. And this one, I'm just not really sure what this is, right? So maybe just put some more things in the room or like compose it, put the camera a little differently. This seems interesting, but then it's clipped off at the bottom. But that's okay. So we're all learning, but I think the ones I saw so far, this was a really great first attempt. So if any of you in the chat room have homework that you didn't send me, please send it now. We can look at it together. The last thing, so we looked at this artist, Blake Catherine. I asked a pretty simple question. What did she do to become successful? I guess also I should have asked, how did she get to do a music video for Lil Nas X? So that she does tell an interesting story that I think is kind of cool. Does anyone remember that? How did she get to do that music video? Did you all read the interview, or did you just kind of skim it so you could like write a sentence? Right? So all she did, right? Yes, thank you, Sally. Yep, skimmed it. It's really, guys. I don't know. This is a really easy reading, right? This is someone who is a new media professional, right? And she's talking about how she did it. So like this would be something worth reading for sure. Right. So she got to do this music video just because she simply tweeted him, right? So that's kind of interesting, right? That rarely works, but I think if you have enough followers and stuff like that, it can be effective. So pretty cool. I hope that you all learned some stuff reading an interview with her. You know, ultimately, the best teachers you can have are just artists that you like and follow and read how they did what they did, right? So if you don't like her stuff, then yeah, if you skimmed it, fine. If you're not into what she's doing, but I feel like, how can you not think this is cool? Also, right? I don't know. I mean, you have to at least admire the technical talent in this, right? I think it's also hilarious if you all have ever built your own computers. This is probably like a $7,000 computer. It's really not necessary to have something this fancy, but I don't know. She must have a lot of money doing these music videos. Okay, no problem. It's okay. We're all just, I'm being super lenient right now. We're all just kind of figuring out how to deal with this crazy pandemic thing. Um, cool. Okay. Let's see what's next. Got that. So the artist of today that we're going to look at is this artist Takashi Murata, because we're going to start talking about making still lifes and really get into composition and making an engaging looking image, right? And then we'll build on that and then start making engaging animation. Takashi Murata is an artist, an animator, but he also makes these. Let's see, video. He also makes these prints he uses Cinema 4D, which is similar to Blender, and he prints them out and frames them. So these are still lives made in a 3D program that are printed in glossy color. Right, and they're just really beautiful. This is the animation he did with Popeye. The animation that I put in the discussion is called Ohm Rider. So obviously we're not going to watch that in the stream, but it's a little tricky. I just want to mention it. Click on this link, and then here it is. It's about 12 minutes. Weirdly, when you click on Vimeo, like if I wanted to go to just a page, it says it's private, but just watch it from this page, and then you can see it. And so watch that. There's a genre, so we were talking a little bit about genres during the critique section. So think about maybe what genre his animation looks like, what kind of like movie, and then think about like what does it mean? What's it a metaphor for? And I just want you to venture a guess. But let's just look at some of his still lives I really like, and they're super simple, so they're not things that are like technically out of range for you all. Especially this one's my favorite. Right? There's for the most part, you all could do a lot of this. Maybe not the holes. That's called a Boolean modifier in Blender. If you want to look into it, it's super easy. We'll talk about it a little later, right? But one thing I love about this is this light, right? You see that? So he built these blinds off camera and put a light through them, so all we see of them is the shadow, right? And that kind of gives this feel of like that you're in a house, that maybe it's morning, right? So like look at these little clues of a story, right? Which I really like. There's a sword here, and then a coffee cup. So really interesting contrast of items. So like who is this person that is a musician, a cat lover, and also a sword fighter maybe? This is just a really cool image. I love how everything's connected. So maybe something inspirational as we get into still life. So here's some more classical still life. See how nicely composed this is? Right? These are pointing this way. Right? So this one's like over here in the corner. It just feels like we're bending down looking at the still life. It's from like a very human perspective. This guy is looking to the left. So the left is where we have the most empty space. Right? Same, this is pointing to the right, so we have more, it's almost like it's pointing to this book. Right? This is a famous book just about kind of like new media, art and animation, which is a cool reference. So this would be like a really good inspiration for lighting and composing your next assignment, right? Which I won't assign today. I'll assign it Thursday, but we're going to get started on it today. So take a look at this artist. I think it's really worth checking out. Very cool. Students tend to like this stuff a lot, right? It's very pretty. Okay. Cool. Anything anyone wants to say before we move into Blender? Give you a second. Very cool. Looks like no one's typing or anything. You can always, guys, you can always, who's doing all five of you? Cool. You can always unmute your microphone and just chime in too with voice. Okay. Hopefully I'm good still. Cool. Okay. So we're going to start making still lifes. And one of the most classic still life things, right, is just like a bottle. So let's see, we need a table to put our still life on. So I'm just going to, oh wait, cool. So now you all can see what I'm pressing down there, right? So I'm just going to quickly make a table, just the old-fashioned way that we learned. And I guess at this point, maybe it's worth pointing out some shortcuts. So I'm just going to type these out. So G, get or move something. S, scale. R, rotate. And then plus axis, X, Y, Z, if you want. So I'll show you what this means. So if I want to move this up, rather than going all the way over here, grabbing that handle, moving it up, and then I want to scale it, and I pick the scale tool, and I go like that, it takes forever. So a much quicker way, and I'm always on this tool, is I hit G and Z, S and Z. And that's why I love Blender. A lot of other programs, you can't do it that fast, but I love that. So I did G, Z, that moved it up, S, and Z on the up and down axis, right? So it's just a much quicker way of working. So you'll see those shortcuts come up down there. So I'm going to tab into edit mode, Control R to do my loop cuts to get this table. Three goes into face mode. P to pull it down. Okay, so we have a table. We're just going to put our still life on the table. I'm also going to name it table. And I'm going to name this collection still life. Right, and now actually, let's see, I'm going to move this down a bit. G and Z. I'm going to hide that table now. And we're going to make a bottle. So there's a bunch of different ways to make a bottle. This is my method to demonstrate a few different things. Right? We're going to look at a few different things. We're riffing off of the extrude, right? So we're just going off of that extrude tool. So I'm going to add a circle. So that's just a circle. If I go to render this, nothing comes up because it's just a bunch of points. Okay? So I have to extrude on the Z. I have to extrude these points. And now when I go to render, at least we have something. We have no light yet, though, obviously. All right. So some other shortcuts. I want to see just the front of this bottle, right? So when I go to extrude on Z, we're seeing just the front like that. So that is number 1 on the number pad. Three on numpad shows the right view, and 7 shows top view. 5 on number pad, non-perspective or orthographic view, which we'll look at a little more later, but I just wanted to add that there. Okay, so now I can see the front of this bottle, and I can just keep extruding up, hit scale, extrude up. Okay, now I have a thing that's kind of looking like a bottle. E and S, E and Z, E and S. Oops. Right, and now we kind of have this bottle-y looking thing, but it looks pretty bad, right? I think it's always important when you're starting to make real-looking things, as we talked about with the table, that you have some reference. Okay? So let's look at bottles. I don't know. Wine bottle. Let's see. Let's just find like a really generic. Oh, this one's kind of cool. This could be fun because it has that little thing down there. Let's see if I can get it. I hate how they just don't. Copy image location. There we go. Okay. Oh yeah, I feel you about not hearing your own voice. Okay, I'm gonna take this wine bottle, and you can see like stuff I'm working on. Like I have my references, right? This is something I did yesterday, and I had this reference to work from, right? I'm always looking at references. Okay, so I'm going to add this new thing. It's called an empty image. And then I'm going to say RX90. So now we're going to put an image there. So I just rotated it 90 degrees, RX90. And then I go in the empty here. And I'm going to go onto the desktop. Let's see. Look for it. There it is. And now we have this here. And we're just going to kind of like copy it. Okay. So I'm going to say GZ. Okay. And now I'm going to hit 1. And there we go. So now we can kind of like copy this wine bottle. Now it's not from the exact perspective we're doing, but it's close enough, right? So that's one way to do this off an empty. Another way, if you don't want to do it like that, hide that empty. See this in the corner? When I pull my mouse into the corner, I'm going to pull out a new window. And up here, we have editor type. Usually we're in the 3D viewport, but I'm going to go to image editor. And I can just drag that wine bottle in there, and I can go off of the image like that, right? That's just like having the image right next to you, right? So now I'm going to close this by going up into the corner, dragging, letting go. So if you have not done this yet, one of the times I really, all the time, I wish that we were face to face. This is really hard to show you without watching you do it, but if you have Blender open right now, try this out. Something later on down the road we'll be doing more of, right? When you have to kind of like make an interface to work from, right? So you can see up here this layout. They have different layouts. So I think some of you have, I think I saw some of you doing sculpting, but we're just doing the basic. Okay, but I'm gonna go up this empty. So I'm gonna select my circle. I'm gonna rename it bottle. Go into edit mode. Scale. I hit S to scale. Maybe this. I'm gonna say G and X, and just kind of like center this bottle a little more. There we go. Tab back into edit mode. A to select all. E, Z. And now obviously you can't see the bottle, so I'm going to switch into wireframe. E, Z, E, Z, and now S to scale. Now maybe we don't want that, so I'm going to move this down by hitting G and Z. I noticed, oh shit, we can't read that. So I'll just try to speak it up. S to scale, E and Z, S to scale, E and Z, S to scale, E and Z, S to scale, E, Z, S to scale, E, Z. Okay, now we get this lip. So I'm going to say E and S, G and Z, E and Z, E, Z, S, E, Z. All right, so now we have the outside of the bottle. You see how much better when you have a reference image, it looks so much better. Let's do the inside now. Hit 1. So with this selected here, right, I'm going to scale that in just a little bit. And let's hide that empty now. Let's kind of make up our own, how thick we want this to be. E, S. So that makes a little lip. E and Z. So that's our inside. E, Z, S, E, Z, S, E, Z, S, E, Z, S. Okay, that's a little too far down. I'm going to move it up. G and Z, E, Z, E, Z, E, Z. Actually, I'm going to ignore that. It's maybe, well, you can do it. If you're feeling more advanced, do that little thing in there. That's cool, but I'll ignore it for now. I feel like this is a lot. E, Z. So now we have to close this. I'm going to hit S, scale that loop in a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to show you, I'm going to close that empty. Show you how to close this. So, pay close attention to the keystrokes. E, S, E, S. Okay, we need some extra geometry there for shading reasons, which I'll show you later. And now I'm going to close this with E, S, and I'm going to hit 0 and enter. E, S, 0, enter. Now there's a problem when I do that. It looks closed, but in fact, you'll see, if I go in vertex mode and just select any of these points, there's like 30 some points in the middle there. So I need to delete all those points except 1. So ES0, enter, right click, merge vertices by distance, and when I do that, you're going to notice down here, it's going to say removed 32 vertices or something like that. Merge vertices by distance, see that, remove 31 vertices. So now when I select this point, they all move, right, because it's connected. So I'm going to do that one more time, right here. So I looped selected by Alt left click, okay? See that? So that way I don't have to just go and like select every freaking point. Right? You just Alt click, there we go. ES, 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 ES0, enter, right click, merge vertices by distance. Okay, cool. So this is like pretty flat, right? So I'm gonna do another loop cut. Control R, Alt click, and I'm gonna pull this up. GZ, GZ, and let's get even geometry. I'm just gonna give a few more loop cuts. Control R, click, just so everything's even. So now let's just check our reference. Cool. Right? If you wanted, I don't know, maybe bring this one in even a little more. Right. Okay. Let's see. Any questions so far? Anyone watching this? Nice. Yeah. Yeah. This is like SolidWorks. This is just the most classic, normal way of doing 3D modeling. So if you take industrial design, animation, regular 3D stuff, if you're doing like engineering even, a lot of times I think, you do like this. Okay, so now we have our bottle made. Right? So it still has this kind of shading that is no good. Right? Let's actually now get this on a table and stuff like that. So it's huge. So we can kind of start building out our still life. There, it's a big old bottle. Okay. So one thing I saw on a lot of homework that I forgot in this crazy time to mention, usually I mention this a lot earlier, you can always right click on something, shade smooth. So look at that. Now it's nice and smooth. So I saw on a lot of your homeworks that a lot of you could have used this. So that's one way of making it smooth. Right? So that's pretty good. Right? So you can see a lot of times when you do this, see how it gets kind of dark gray up there? If I just add another loop cut, we can kind of get rid of that. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. It's still like a little bit rough, right? You can see some hard edges. So if you want to make it even smoother, there's still some other methods. So if I hit A, select all, you can mess around. I really like this new tool. It's called Smooth. I'm going to click on that. And that kind of like will smooth out. See how that's doing that? Now it's more like a sake bottle or something. But that's not what we're going for. I just wanted to mention that. Another tool to make things even smoother is in this little wrench, add modifier, subdivision surface. And what that does, you'll see we have all this geometry here, right? It's just going to subdivide all this geometry. So we have a lot more polygons. Subdivision surface, see that? How that really smooths it out, right? And I can go and viewport, maybe knock that up to 3. So now, let's see, I'm going to save. Because when you're working with so much geometry, it can really bog down your computer. You can start to get some crashes. So whatever you do, when you use the subdivision modifier, do not apply it. I'm going to apply it to show you what it does, and then I'm going to undo it. Okay, so see that? Oh, that's not there. So it just made a ton more geometry, so that when it's rounded, it's really rounded. Right? So I'm just going to undo that. There's no reason to apply it. Right? Just leave it. Okay? At least at this point. So you'll notice maybe some of our thickness I don't like, so we can take this scale, and so now the lip is much wider. Okay? It's more realistic. Okay. Any questions so far? Type out questions. I'll just check periodically. Okay. So let's see. I just have a little bit more, and then I'll stop because this is a lot for today. Let's add a light. So I'm adding with Shift A. I guess I'm noticing this isn't doing everything. So I'll just go up here. RZ. Get that light right on there. Rank it up. So there, you should see these shadows, right? When you shine the light right on there, you just got to really crank it up. So you can change the color of the light. We're going to talk a lot more about lighting on Thursday, but today was really about modeling. Right? And then we'll talk a little bit about materials, right? Because you can get some fun materials. Let's see. So with Principled, I could make this bottle very metallic looking. If you wanted. So a lot of this, we're going to talk more about Thursday, but I'm going to kind of just really quickly, light is not going to do much if it has nothing to reflect off of. So you always kind of need like a little bit of a backdrop. Right? So we're going to talk a lot more about this Thursday. That's our main lesson. We'll make cloth and we'll talk about lighting. So I'm going to duplicate this bottle. Command C, Command V, GX. Oops, wrong thing duplicated. Okay. GX. Maybe we'll scale this guy down. And this guy, I'm going to take off that material. Let's get a new one. This is just a fun time to play around with this stuff. We got glass. Let's see. Warner. So glass is like a little tricky with Eevee, but you can play around with it. So take out some of the roughness, maybe it's more shiny. I don't know, 1.3, 1, I don't know, play around. 5. Let's make it more of a wine bottle. So, in Eevee, it's a little tricky, but if you do have a nice computer, you can switch to cycles. And you really start to get a nice, these materials. Now, in Eevee, there's ways to get this, but it's a bit more advanced. But look into it if you want. You have to start using these things called nodes in the materials, but I think in this time when you're just sitting at home, it's totally a great time to start to look into this stuff for fun, right? It's so fun. Okay, let's put a label. I just want to review that, and then I'll call it a day. Let's see, I'll go back to Eevee. Let's see. So, let's see. I'll select where I want a label to be. There we go. And if you remember the material tab, so I'll call this wine bottle matte, and we'll make a new one. Label matte. That or something. And remember, we just hit assign. Okay. So now we have a label, and you can see that contrast of the glass and the other one. So let's see, let's put that in suckers. There we go. All right. So this is a lot. Maybe if you're not following along, maybe it doesn't seem like a lot, but please, come to class on Thursday having tried this out and made a bottle. Make a couple of different bottles, right? Because from this one technique, you can really make a lot. And really, you can make anything symmetrical like this. It doesn't have to be a bottle. You could make weird like pots and stuff like that. Um, whatever you want to do, there's a lot you could make off this technique. It's pretty fun. Um, so just play around with it. Any questions before I stop? I do want to mention, for those of you still struggling with a computer, I just want to talk about some other options that you could do. So since the basis of this lesson is it's about lighting, it's about still lives, it's about composition, there's still a lot you can do with that without 3D software. So if you don't have Blender, you cannot get access to it, it's okay. So what I want you to do is get this program, Autodesk Sketchbook, on your cell phone, and just draw some still lives. Okay? And we'll talk a little bit more about this on Thursday. So for us with 3D software, we're just going to make our lights. But for you drawing, if you're drawing on your cell phone, just pay attention to light, right? Because you're going to then have to draw the light in and think about where the light is coming from. You're going to have to think about composition just like we would in Blender and all that stuff. So for those of you without a computer, your homework or whatever, I'm not grading it, but your thing to do would be to get Sketchbook and start playing around with it. I wonder, there must be YouTube tutorials, right? There's a lot of different brushes, yeah. So there's some stuff, right? So check out Sketchbook. It's a pretty cool little app. Hopefully you can get it on your phone. If not, then try some other drawing app. But it's hard to demo this on the computer. But so you'll just have to find some tutorials, play around with it ultimately, right? See what you can do to just show composition and to show light. I think you can demo that. Any other questions before I stop the recording? Sure. Hold it up. Or send the link if you have the project and you want to send the link. Maybe it might come up though. Let's see. Yeah, cool. Oh, great. Thank you, Poppy. That reminds me. With the number pad, if you don't have a number pad, go into Preferences, Input, Emulate Number Pad. And then your regular numbers up above your keyboard will work just like the number pad. Thank you for that. I'm gonna type that in. I forgot. If no number pad, go into Preferences, Input, Emulate Numpad. Thank you. Good question. Get into the water, it looked clear in the shading tab, but when I came back, what do you mean by layout? So this is the render view. This always looks different, right? This won't look like a render. So, I mean, your render will always look a little different than right here, right? Because you do have there's different considerations. Not much, but some. The camera, certainly. A lot of times you'll get a different look through your camera than you would other places. So that looks a little different. I don't know. So it looked murky. Well, the shading tab just shows you your rendered view. This is what it'll look like when you render it. This is just for like an example of what it could look like when you're working. This is unlit. You'll see there's no lighting, but it still makes the materials how maybe you could make them look. I don't know if that answers your question. But we'll talk. We're gonna next on Thursday. That's what we're gonna focus on is lighting, camera, and stuff like that. I'm gonna save this on my desktop. We'll open it up, and we're gonna throw a cloth in there. We'll get some. We'll talk about 3-point lighting, stuff like that, and maybe we'll get a little deeper into materials. But let's see. So if you pull this out and you select a material, it looks like this. It's these kind of node-based things, and it can get a little bit confusing for students. We are going to look at it a little bit, but it just can get pretty involved sometimes. So feel free, it's not rocket science or anything. You can get some pretty nice results. Oh, okay. Oh, shit. Really? Uh-oh. Well, I have the recording. I'm going to stop the recording now.